Hello, and welcome to this live interview series showcasing supplier diversity here. I'm your host, Sandra D'Souza, and I'm the CEO and founder of Elect. It's a digital marketplace that connects small business sellers with corporate buyers, and every transaction funds a gender equality project. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to have a conversation with Jess Weiss. She's here as a managing consultant for Human Tribe, and she's going to talk to us about her journey as a business owner. Jess, thank you so much for being part of our program today. Nice to see you.
I'm so excited to be here. It's good to see you as well.
Thank you. And so for everybody who knows me, I don't like to read out bio, I should say, but I do love to talk about Jess. So Jess, why don't you start off in telling us a little bit about your professional background?
Yeah, so I have an interesting background. So I actually have a background in the fitness industry. So I'm a personal trainer by trade. It was what I always wanted to do when I was in school. So as soon as I finished school, I went straight into that, and I PT'd for about 5 or 6 years. I still do a little bit on the side, which is very different from what I do now, which we'll talk about. But in terms of my professional background, that's where I came from. So a little bit different, yeah.
Not that bad, yeah, definitely. I don't hear many that went from like starting off in fitness and went into management consulting.
Yeah, a little bit of a shift, but I feel like the different experience and the different journey that I've had into what I'm doing now has probably offered me some unique perspectives as well.
That's fantastic. Well, while we're on that subject, tell us about your business and your management consulting business, Human Tribe.
Yeah, so Human Tribe is a training and consulting company built to improve the performance of businesses by improving the performance of people. So we specialize in human performance in the workplace. So generally think of anything to do with people within an organization, whether it's self-awareness, management capability, team cohesiveness, employee engagement, purpose, strategy, any of that stuff to do with people. That's what we help with. And we very much believe that when people thrive, businesses thrive. So if we know that people are happy and they love coming to work and they're working on a great team with a great manager, and there's some nice self-awareness there, then we know that the business will thrive overall. And that's kind of the area that we play in.
That's fantastic. And I guess before I want to talk about like how you even got into this journey of doing what you're doing, what type of customers do you help with your training consulting?
Yeah, it's really a mix, and it's so interesting. You go through, marketing courses and chat with people, and they all say, you have to niche. And I sort of went, I don't want to. And I guess if I work out, my niche, it's not a certain industry, but it's people where there's a values alignment, where people understand the benefit in investing in their people. I don't enjoy working with organizations that do it because they think they have to do the soft people-y stuff. I do it with the ones that see that their people are their biggest asset. So while there's not a niche, industry or market that I work with, it's that type of person that I connect with and generally enjoy working with the most.
That's awesome. That's really good. And so now the juicy side. Tell us. So I guess tell us, especially I guess, when you start with your fitness side and moving into your business, we would love to hear about the personal insights, like the journey that you went through and any challenges and how you overcome those sort of challenges.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting journey, and the question that you sort of said there, Sandra, like how do you go from PT to what you do now? And it's interesting, I guess, because I've lived it, I see the transition and how it makes sense. But from an outside perspective, it's kind of like, hang on a second, you went from the gym to the boardroom. What's the deal here? Yeah. So basically,
that actually makes a good title of a book, by the way, from gym to boardroom. Yeah.
I'll take note of that. If I ever decide to write a book, I'll give you a little acknowledgement in the front of the book.
Thank you.
So as I said, I finished school, went straight into PT. Yeah. And I did my course and I started my own business straight away, and I was running my own business and I loved doing that. And then I started working in a gym. I was in an Anytime Fitness gym, and eventually a company came in, and what they did was they subcontracted PTs into Anytime Fitness gyms, and they had taken over about 10 gyms And I very quickly went from trainer to managing trainer. So I was managing the other trainers within the gym. And as I moved into that position, I kind of dropped the amount of clients that I was training, and my time was predominantly spent with the management team. So there was about 5 of us. We each had about 2 gyms that we were managing. So with the team, because we were trying to grow the business, and also with my individual trainers. And I got to the point where on a Sunday afternoon, I was the most horrible person to be around.
I cannot believe that at all.
You can ask my family; they'll agree with me. And it took me a little while to realize why I was feeling this way, and it was that I wasn't loving my job anymore, and I had never not loved my job, and I was always such a big believer that we spend so much time at work that we have to love it. So once I realized that I wasn't enjoying it, I actually gave notice to my work, and I said to them, I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I know that I can't figure it out when I'm here. And when I reflected on what I was still enjoying about my job, it was working with my trainers. It was running team meetings and onboarding my trainers and mentoring them and helping them with any issues they had. And I suddenly went from, helping 10 clients PTing face-to-face to helping 8 trainers who were all helping 10 clients. And I felt like I was making such a big difference, not only to my trainers and their lives, because we taught them to, treat it as their own little business, but also all of the people that they were training. So I realized I wanted to do something in that coaching, mentoring space, and I just didn't quite know what that was. So that's the part that kind of makes me go, but it's a simple transition, because it's the people stuff and it's the mentoring and the coaching. And I get so much energy, in the same way where I had my trainers and they were working with their clients. I now work with a director or an owner or a CEO or a leadership team. And I feel like I work with frontline team members as well. And that's great. And I absolutely love that. And that's kind of like the people that I was still PTing. But if I work with a manager and you'd know this all too well, the impact that a manager can have on someone's engagement within a role.
Definitely.
Suddenly I feel like, hey, if I'm helping these managers and they've all got team members, or they've got managers and they've got team members, I feel like I'm helping so many people.
Yeah. Well, that's right. That impact is just kind of like spreads through the organization. And it's true that, and I'm taking it a little bit off tangent, where one bad apple does have this ripple effect that goes on. But then really working with not so much one good apple, but a great manager can also make such a difference throughout the organization. Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that, Sandra, because sometimes if I'm talking to a group of managers, and we have a management capability program that we run, and one of the first activities we do is like, think of a terrible leader, manager, coach, mentor that you've had, and then think of a good one. And everyone can always think heaps of examples of bad ones. And sometimes some people haven't had an experience of a good one. And then the question is like, how do you want to be remembered? And it's that moment of like, oh my goodness, I want to be the good one. I want, my team to be sitting in this room and talking about me as the good manager, So you're right. One good apple or one bad apple can make such a difference to someone's experience of work, but also where they then go in their career,
And you know what? I think that's a great first question to ask them, because it really sets the tone for your program for them to say, okay, why are you here and what do you want to try and be like?
Yeah, and what impact do you want to leave as well?
That's right.
How do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be? Do you want to be remembered as a person that, never tells someone they did a good job and only focuses on weaknesses, or only give feedback when there's, they've done something wrong? Or do you want to be the one that someone goes, this person helped me grow into who I am today, and I'll be eternally grateful?
And again, I'm going side note because this is really interesting. Have you had somebody who says, no, I don't care, I just want to be a bad manager, or something like that?
No. No. You know what? If someone said that, I'd be like, there's the door, the right. I've never had someone say that. And it's interesting, I go back to what I was saying about, my niche and the kind of people that I like to work with. And I have worked with people who, I say something simple like, hey, you got to praise your people. And they go, why? I pay them $200,000 a year. And it's like, because it costs you nothing and it makes such an impact. And they're the organizations that I generally don't take on as clients and that I don't enjoy working with. But I'm pretty lucky that that's happened so infrequently. But no one's ever going to sit there and go, I want to be remembered as a crappy manager. You know what I mean? No one does that on purpose.
Which is good to know, because, I've always wondered. And it's good that people do aspire to be a better manager, but they just didn't know how to do it, or didn't even realize that them being the way, like you said, not even saying thank you, could be remembered negatively.
Yeah, and I hear two things when we talk about that. It's either I've had an awesome manager and I want to be like them, I want to make the difference to, the next generation kind of thing, or it's I've had such horrible managers that I never want to be like them. There's two different motivations for it. Obviously, you'd rather be in the former, but people who are in the latter group, they know the impact that it had on them, and they go, I do not want to be that person for someone else. And sometimes that's motivation enough for someone to be like, yeah, I want to be a great manager. How I want to be remembered. Yeah.
I definitely can relate to that. And look, I know I'm kind of like taking you off your journey discussion. So with those sort of like amazing insights and what you've learned, and literally went from gym to boardroom, what were what did you come across many challenges, as a woman-owned business in what you do? Yeah.
So just to quickly, I loved the tangent. And anyone who knows me knows that that's how anyone that I talk to goes. Here's the path, and have all of these different discussions, and we eventually get back to the main path. But so to just quickly explain, so I gave notice to my job, and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know that I can't figure it out when I'm here. I said, if you want me to finish tomorrow, I will. If you want me to stay on for however long, I will. So I ended up staying on for 7 weeks, and I finished on a Thursday. And on the Friday, there was a Business Chicks event. So it was 9 to 5, and it was kind of like an expo. And I'd never heard of Business Chicks before, and this thing had come up in like my Facebook or Instagram feed, and I thought maybe I'll get some inspiration here. So I dragged my best friend along, and we went to this expo, and I was walking around, and she was like, what are you looking for here? And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe if I have some conversations. So anyway, we're walking along, and we see this big sign, like banner thing that says, what's your EQ? And we were like, oh, this looks really cool. So we went over, and you had to fill in like a little assessment, and then you sat down and had a debrief with someone. Yeah. So I filled it in, and I sat down with someone called Nick, who was the founder of Human Tribe. And we had a chat. I had no idea what her business did. And we sat down, and she said, oh, so tell me a bit about yourself. What do you do? And I said, oh, I'm actually a personal trainer. Finished up my job yesterday. No idea what I want to do, or no idea how I'm going to do it, but this is kind of what I want to do. Don't know what that looks like. And she asked me all these questions, and I thought it was just part of the stand. And at the end, she gave me a business card, and she said, I've got a job for you. And I was like,
oh, wow.
What do you do? So I walked away, and I was shocked, and I went straight onto my phone on the website, and she just did everything that I wanted to do and more, things that I didn't even realize were a thing. And we caught up for a chat after the expo, and she said, I'm about a month away from being able to take you on. And it's interesting because you speak to Nick, and she says, I didn't even know I was looking for someone. Said, we're probably about a month away from financially being able to take you on. I said, that's great. I'm about to go on a holiday for a month. Let's speak when I get back. So it all worked out well. And Nick is an amazing human and an amazing friend, an amazing mentor. And she took me under her wing. And that was in 2016. And then in 2019, I took over the organization, and now it's my baby. So, yeah, I've been doing an interesting journey in. So, yeah, that's my gym to boardroom.
But it's also how the universe actually, I very much believe that the universe, which I got this from the Alchemist line from many years ago, it's like the universe conspires to help you. And it precisely, I think your story tells me it did that. Yeah, 100%. And I read The Alchemist nearly every year. I absolutely love it. And I think if you're open to seeing the signs, and I think I just got really lucky that
Nick was open to seeing the signs, and I was open, and I don't think either of us. I don't think either of us ever looked back, and where we can, Nick and I still look for opportunities to work together. And she told me everything that I know, and I think there's definitely certain experience, because most people who do what I do, they kind of maybe come from a corporate background, they've worked their way up to, you know, CEO or MD, and then they want to get out of it and they start their own consulting firm. And I've had like a really different way in. And I think, you know, there's pros and cons to it. And I think there's probably some experiences that I've missed out on. But I think because of my different path in, I probably have some different views on things. I know, for one, I'm definitely not tainted by corporate, that a lot of other people
totally. Every corporate is tainted one way or another. And I can speak for that too.
So that's my journey. So to kind of go back to your question, I feel super lucky because I came into a strong business run by an incredible woman who had built an amazing network. And a lot of the people that I work with are female business owners, or, you know, female co-CEOs, or, you know, the male, you know, CEOs or owners that I've worked with. They're what you would call a feminist without thinking that feminists are, you know, man haters. They're the ones who, they don't look at gender, and they just, you know, want to lift everyone around them up. Like a mutual friend of ours, Tim.
Yes, that's right. He's a feminist.
Of people like that.
Yeah.
So,
and I love that. Yeah. And just on that point, because, you know, I call myself a feminist, but I do get people go, ooh, all right, you're one of those. And I used to hide to say that I'm a feminist. I just say I advocate, you know, like 10, 20 years ago. But I'm kind of like, I'm enjoying that now. It's okay and it's and accepted, but I don't and celebrated that we all have different views. And you know how we had, I know I'm going off tangent again, but you know how we had this March for Justice not long ago, and I was, because the office is right near town hall, so I went out there and there was a billboard, and it said that men of quality do not fear inequality, gender inequality. Anyway, and that's exactly like describing Tim and describing amazing men. And I now also call them feminist, and embracing the word that it's not about man hating. It's about bringing equality to everything that we do. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not wanting to raise ourselves above. It's just wanting to be equal. It's really funny on that. So Nick talks about her dad being the first feminist he ever met. And every time she calls him a feminist, he goes, but I'm not. I just treat you the same as I treat boys. And it's like, she grew up with 4 brothers. She goes, I just treat you the same as I treated your brothers. She's like, well, there you go. You're a feminist because you want equality. That's simply all it is. So, I feel really lucky with the journey that I've had in, and the people that I've gotten to work with. I definitely have stood on the shoulders of Nick, who you know, built this amazing business with this amazing network. And I feel really lucky for the people that I've, you know, gotten to work with.
Well, that's great. But, you know, Jess, I think you're being modest. I don't think it's all about luck. It's because you're very good at what you do. Otherwise, you 2021 and you're still here after COVID, and you still have your business and you're doing amazing things with it and with the work that you do. So that actually speaks towards your talent and your ability to help business thrive.
I appreciate that.
Well, thanks. So I guess with your work that you do, if a corporate buyer, because I guess Select is about attracting corporate buyers for supply diversity, what is the best way to find you?
Yeah, well, I'm on Elect, so you can definitely find me.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning Elect.
Nice and easy to find me there. Otherwise, Human Tribe, www.humantribe.com.au. Jess at humantribe.com.au. I'm also LinkedIn, Jess Weiss, and Human Tribe, Facebook, Human Tribe AU, all of this standard. If you find me on one, you'll find me on all of them.
Yes.
I also have done a little bit of a offer for anyone who's watching who's interested. Yes. So if you go onto my website, I have a strategy session, which I run. It's usually $250, and if you type in at the cart elect 100, so like 100% discount, that'll be a complimentary session. So if there's anyone who goes, I've kind of liked some of the stuff you've spoken about, I think it could be beneficial for my business, please reach out, let's have a chat, and if we can make some magic, then awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jess, for offering that. Really appreciate for everybody who's been, watching this interview, that they will get a free strategy session with you, which I highly rated. I think, you'll have an awesome session with insights with Jess. So highly recommend it. Thank you. So Jess, thank you for sharing your contact details. We'll also tag you on the post with this video for the recording, so that people can easily find you. And also, like what Jess said, you can also find her on Elect. So that's it. It's a wrap. Well, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing your story and your journey with how you got from the gym to bedroom. Oh dear.
That might be my round 2 book, maybe. I don't know.
Well, that was a faux pas for sure. And it's live, so I can't edit that one out.
You wouldn't want to. That's too good to edit.
From gym to boardroom. Thank you so much for joining us. And on that note, I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jess. Sorry, I'm just really struggling now. Thank you, Jess, for joining us on the show. And I will stop.
Thank you so much for having me.
And on that note, we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
See you later.